Got Mac here, and the one, the only Michael Harris. And as usual, I will be eating on stream because
He's extra
that's what I
large.
do.
He's a
I'm always
heavyweight.
extra large.
Yeah, he's a heavyweight.
Absolutely. I had my voice talking to myself twice over, so I was like trying to figure out which one it was coming from. I had to get rid of it.
We know what that is. It's the voices in your head.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, always listen to them though.
Multiple personality disorder. That's what it is. A DID.
Yeah. So before we get started, how's your Sunday going so far? What do you?
Not too bad. It's it was 105 today.
Holy crap!
Well, down in Texas, I saw some temperatures 115.
Yeah, it was 108 yesterday.
There's some ridiculous stuff, man.
I didn't check it, but Texas is going through a dry spell, and we haven't had rain in about 2 months, I think.
Yeah. So. Sounds right. No, the other thing I did was start working on my food garden out back, and I got some blueberries, raspberries, and blackberries, along with some mint to plant in some raised beds. So, like, I'm sticking to doing a food forest in the backyard where it's going to be all like perennial plants, where everything is like permanent, like goes in and it like produces years to come. But I mean, it takes a little while. You need to get, as soon as you get into a place, you're going to stay for a very long time. If you want food plants, you got to get them in the ground as fast as you can.
Yeah, I get it. I don't know what I'm gonna be doing here in next few years, but yeah, whenever I know I'll be leaving. I don't know when yet, but I plan on
or where,
or
where you going?
I plan on growing something like that. But today, I made green curry paste. I made a coconut Thai. It's like a stew. It's almost like a ratatouille, but it's Thai style. And then I made a pho. So yeah, I've been doing that for the last 3.5 hours, and then I got done just in time for the Hooch.
It's great. How's your culinary stuff coming?
Today was the last assignment for world cuisines, and now I'm going to start on Tuesday. It's farm to table.
Nice.
So I guess.
So are you going to go out and slaughter your own lamb?
I don't kill animals. So
it's like when I hear farm to table, it's like, yeah, are you the one killing it though? Like, are you going out there?
I haven't got the gist of it yet. I know it's farm to table. I haven't looked into the syllabus to see what's going on.
Farm to table is going to refer to things that are coming fresh from like produce or meat sources coming fresh from farms. So farm to table is literally going to your local farmer and going, hey, I need some meats or I need some vegetables from you.
I ain't doing all that. I'm going to HEB fresh. That's what they're going to get.
HEB fresh. HEB isn't fresh though. You got to go to a farmer's market.
No, I'm not looking for no dang farmer's market that only comes around every once in a while. I'm not doing that. They're going to get HEB fresh.
See, Janet's right too. Is like preferring seed to table. So you're like growing your own and doing it that way. That makes sense.
I understand. But yeah, so that starts Tuesday, and that's another 12 weeks. So I have 3 more courses. I have farm to table, I have entrepreneurship, and then I have my externship. Your externship's usually the last thing. And usually you go work in the industry somewhere for cheap. And you just learn the business. I think you got to give them like 180 hours. And you just learn the ins.
180 hours?
Yeah, it's just 180 hours. That's not a lot.
All right. We had to do something similar for EMT school. Like when I was doing my cert stuff, we had to do internship basically at the ER. That was for a certain amount of hours. That was about the same thing.
I mean, it might be a little less than 180 hours because I start my entrepreneurship in October. That goes to November, and then I actually graduate in December. So it could be, pretty close, depending on how many hours a day I do and what I give them. Then at the externship, that's it. You graduate. It's not like you can just jump into a restaurant because there's other schools you want to go to. I can't just open up a food truck without going through certain courses. So at the end
of your plan? You're going to do a food truck?
Yeah. Yep.
That's the way to go, man. Food trucks are nice. I love food trucks.
Yeah, it's going to be a mobile one to where I have friends all around the United
States.
You're
just going to do the bougie pop-up one, just like, hey, this is where we're going to be at if you want the food.
My uncle does that. Yeah, my uncle does that. But no, I'm just, of course I'm going to be based out of a certain state, but
you're not saying yet.
I drive to like I have a friend in California. He'd be like, "Hey, man, the California State Fair is going on
All
right
right.
now." I drive there. Hey, whatever, freaking Sturgis is going on, and try to get into Sturgis or something. It's just going to be
Right.
mobile to where I can
Surgery would be fun.
make that money because that's
I'd
where you
love
make
to
your
do
money.
that trip. That would be a fun trip.
That's where you make
Is
your
it
money, though.
one of the reasons I was bringing it up? My wife and I were having this conversation earlier about culinary arts. We watch a lot of Guys Grocery Games and a few other cooking
Hmm.
shows. And one of the things that they don't do in school now is they don't teach people actually how to cook. Like, there's no home ec anymore. Like, how to actually teach people, or they don't
Yeah.
even send people unless they're like special needs kids
Hmm.
to like culinary school. Like, it's not a legitimate job. Just like any trade school, like welders aren't needed, or
Hmm.
electricians or plumbers. They don't send them on pathways that could actually get them good jobs that could make them money. It's like you have to go to college. So they
Yeah.
go from like school to college pipeline just straight into debt. But they won't actually teach you anything
Skills.
before that point, or any life skills or anything of that nature.
Yeah, I believe every kid, completion of high school. That's where I'm talking to my son because obviously he doesn't want to
Yep.
go into the military anymore. So, I'm like, "Hey,
I
dude,
wouldn't either.
trade school, man, go get you a trade." I mean, he's into culinary, he's into cooking,
Mhm.
but I'm not gonna try to push that on him. If he wants to do it, so be it. If he doesn't, find something else. But, culinary, it's a lot of it you're learning on your own.
Yeah.
They teach you go through the instruction, and a lot of it is how you do it. Just pay attention to the instructions, read the instructions, do exactly how they tell you to do it. The rest is on you. Like all my plating and all my photos, I
Mhm.
taught myself how to do all that. That they don't teach you that in school,
Oh, no. I mean, you have to self-promote yourself, like, especially when it
Yeah.
comes to today's day and age, like social
Mhm.
media and whatnot. If you're not doing the work, then you're not putting in the time, you're not doing the work, then you're not gonna get seen, and that's the difficult part. I'm guilty about that. I get super lazy.
Yeah.
I should be clipping parts of
Gotta
the
do it.
shows, but I'm not doing it.
I
I'm
did
not
it
doing
the
it.
other day.
I know you did, and I need to do more of that, and I'm really bad about
Yeah.
it, but it's just the way that the world is. I mean, it's always, on fire.
Yes.
Like, the "We didn't start the
Literally.
fire" is great. So, like, Fallout Boy, I think it was, actually did a reiteration of "We didn't start the fire"
I've never heard
for
it.
today's. It is actually pretty good.
Mm.
So you brought up California earlier, so I think this is a good segue for today, is that we are dealing with a hurricane, which is trending on X, formerly known as Twitter, whichever you wanna call it these
Yeah.
days. It's like, is it which do you prefer, Twitter or X? What is it?
I prefer X.
Yeah.
I
X
just
is
like
cooler.
X. Yeah, it looks cooler. Sounds
It's
cooler.
slicker, it's cooler, it's
Hey,
awesome.
did you see that, X? It's not even called a tweet anymore. I forget
Yeah,
what
wait,
he's
did
calling.
you see that X?
Yeah, did you see that new X that
Yeah,
Elon
except they
Musk did?
can't. There used to be a thing called Twitter videos, but now they can't use that because it would be called X videos, and that is a site that you can visit.
Indeed.
I am not suggesting you do that on an open internet, but you can visit that place and find things if you're into that sort of thing, but don't do it. I'm warning you now. Don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Don't do it. Anyway, still funny because that's what they decided to do. But we have Hurricane, and the hurricane's name in all of its glory is Hillary. Hurricane Hillary is here
Of course.
making landfall. Didn't you say there was like it's been what 80 years since the last hurricane on the Pacific?
Yeah, about 80 years since the last hurricane hit that area or California.
Yeah, so they're talking about this quake being a 5 magnitude. And it's not going to be a little one. It's going to be a fairly large one. Like most people are making the jokes of like everyone in California once the hurricane hits today.
I mean,
Just we're in the water, man.
it'll suck, especially, if it is flooding there because
Yep.
my best friend, he called me a couple hours ago, like 2 hours ago, and he told me that he has no power. There's already flooding on major highways,
Hmm.
and if an earthquake hit, just imagine that.
It is amazing to me all these natural disasters that keep popping up. Right? And like a lot of
Wink,
these is like, look
wink.
at all this climate change. Have you seen the new fires that are raging in Canada right now?
Yeah, and we talked about this. A lot of this stuff, and this is me. I think it's all man.
I love
It's
this
all
one. I bet she knew the hurricane quake was coming.
She did, but I think a lot of this is man made. I really think, and it's no secret that they do have machines that control the weather. HARP. You
Oh,
know,
yeah, they
they
exist.
California, I'm pretty sure they have stuff in the ground that causes earthquakes.
They're saying they
I probably
downsized it to a tropical storm.
yeah, it's a tropical storm now, and it's just crazy how all this stuff is happening. Then you start, connecting the dots. They're really pushing this climate change stuff, man. They really are. They're pushing it hard. So if they can get a hurricane happening or they
Yeah.
can get another major weather event happening, they'll get the people to really believe that climate change is the cause.
Oh, yeah, LA one
Sharknado.
step closer to Sharknado, yeah. I'm still
Yeah,
amazed that that got made into a movie,
that was
honestly.
I didn't even see it. It would have made my brain freaking turn
Oh,
off.
yeah, there's a poster for the movie that's gonna come out,
No,
Earthquake.
there's not a movie that's coming out. I'm like, huh, predictive programming.
Oh, yeah, God was tired of all of us in Cali and said, "Earthquake, start the rapture."
It's
It's
crazy.
it's just, Twitter's and X is amazing for that reason alone. It's just some of the memes that get up
Yeah,
people
I
get up
love it.
to.
But my theory is that it's ironic that this hurricane happened. It never it hasn't happened in California in years,
Mhm.
and I think it was created to take our eyes off Maui.
Yeah. No, it could be. But there's also like I said, the fires that are raging in Canada right now.
Oh yeah,
So this is in British Columbia too,
yeah,
right now. I got another video where people are saying it's like it was not naturally caused. It was not
yeah.
naturally
Of
made.
course, it's not. I mean, even the last ones weren't naturally caused. The ones that they were talking about, there was videos of them actually starting those fires. They're doing this stuff on purpose, man.
Yeah. There's
Look at this.
oh that was in Houston.
Yeah, that was the one. The hay thing burnt up.
The hay had burnt up.
Yeah, the hay,
The
whatever.
hay burned up.
Yeah,
No, have you seen some of the reporting coming out of Maui and
yeah.
what
The
they're saying?
mayor, he got called out.
Yeah. So one of the people responsible for the water issue is one of those wokey people who said that water needs to be about equity. That's a legitimate quote coming from this guy. It needs to be about equity. And
Mm.
he waited 5 hours to release the water after the fire started. They turned off the water in one of the greatest fires the US have seen in years for 5 hours. How does that
Isn't
make
that a
sense to
damn
anybody?
shame that man thinks they can control the water? Water is a natural resource. Can't
Yeah.
put a patent on water. The only reason they control it is because they have to clean the water through their infiltration systems, and now they own it. Isn't that
Yeah,
crazy?
they pump it through and sell it back to you. Yeah.
Yeah, they pump free stuff and they just pump it through a system and then sell it right back to you until you use too much of what Mother Nature gave us. Because it didn't cost them anything to get the water. It didn't
Yep.
cost them a dime. But they charge you for
Exactly.
something they got for free just to run it through a pump. We can clean
So,
water ourselves.
here's the video that I was talking about, in Canada. So, this is how the wildfire started. A mushroom cloud starts,
That is a cloud.
and then an explosion.
Yeah, that ain't supposed to happen.
Yep.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Maybe it's just another one of those transformers exploding as we cover it again.
I mean,
Yeah.
and we always say the footage that people they really need to pay attention to is independent footage like this.
Yep.
Stay away from the mainstream and the mainstream footage because they doctor it. They're going to tell you whatever they want you to tell you, and again, the smooth brains out there, the mental midgets, are going to believe it. They're going to believe exactly what the government tells them. As
Mhm.
critical thinkers, we can look at that footage right away and be like, "Huh,
That
that
ain't
doesn't
right.
that don't look right."
That does not look right. So
Smooth brains. Oh my gosh, an
one of the
explosion.
other things, like, just looking at any of the posts
Mhm.
coming out of Maui are absolutely ridiculous because they're saying, okay, so here's the line of events. Before the fire even started, they kept all the kids at home,
Mhm.
right? They let out of school for no reason. They didn't say whatever reason it was. They just said, we're going to let them out. The cell towers went down, so there was no emergency services. right? There was no self-service for that entire time.
Mm-hmm.
There still isn't any. They have made Maui a media-free zone, and to the point that they're trying to kick out reporters from reporting. FEMA's on the ground, but they're nowhere to be seen for any of the recovery efforts. The death toll is being reported in the hundreds, but it could be in the thousands. People are still missing. Not only that, children are missing. They found entire families burnt up in their homes. And Biden, his only thing was no comment.
Yeah,
No
and
comment.
we can kind of shift to human trafficking too.
Yeah,
It's
that's what some people
ironic.
are claiming.
Yeah, it's ironic that Oprah's there and children start coming up missing.
Yeah, Oprah showed up. It's funny how all of the houses with the rich people didn't burn down in the same area.
The fire just
like
smart.
Bill Gates,
Yeah.
like Oprah, like Bezos, all of those houses that are in the same area just magically missed.
Yeah, fire's smart, man. It knew. It was like, oh, we can't touch this house. Let's go around it.
There's also a mall there that it missed as well.
And again, you get these smooth brains out there that won't question that. Like, wait a minute. How did it burn up everything around these rich people's houses? Everything just burnt up and it never touched theirs. Y'all better start
every single time, man.
They know what they're doing. It's all to push an agenda. Remember when they claimed that climate change can be considered a national emergency, pretty much? They can deem it a national emergency to where the WHO can come in and, give up your sovereignty for your country. Remember that?
Yeah.
So if we start having all these natural disasters, we got one in Hawaii that they claim natural disaster. Or
no, it's climate change.
It's climate change. And then in California right now with the hurricane, oh yeah, so climate change is a problem. They'll do one more somewhere. They'll do another one, a tornado or something, to where they can say climate change is considered a national emergency.
Yeah,
we at the lockdown. Climate lockdowns are coming. People have to understand that.
Well, if it's not the climate lockdowns, it's the new reporting of, hey, COVID's making a comeback. And if you haven't seen it in the mainstream media, that's exactly what they're saying is COVID is going to come back and swing this winter. So prepare your masks and your new lockdowns.
And just imagine. Remember, we always talk about on the Savage Patriots about the 2024 elections not happening.
Yep.
Between climate lockdowns and this new fake COVID strand, lockdowns are going to happen. It ain't no if. It ain't no.
They've got their multiple plans out there. We're going to cover another one here in a minute.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
Prepare. But before that, I wanna share a PSA with everybody. I wish I had the confidence of an obese trans lady.
So I have a public service announcement. Hide your man, hide your brothers, hide whoever, because bitch, I got lash extensions. You can't tell me shit right now. That's all I wanted to say. Hi, Bestie.
You're welcome.
So I have a public service
You're
announcement.
welcome.
Look, I don't care about somebody's lifestyle, how they want to live their life. Live your life how you want to live it. If you want to walk around saying you're a turtle in your
I'm
world.
A turtle.
But if that person thinks
that thing
for a second, I'm hiding. Yeah, I'm hiding. She ain't got to hide me. I'm hiding from you. That's where I'm hiding. So that's just disturbing, man. And there's probably some dude out there that gets a kick out of that. Not me.
I don't know who would want to get a kick out of doing that. I will say this: Marines will probably be the first ones to do aliens whenever we encounter them. Hands down. Like if anything proves that, would be Star Wars and the recent Baldur's Gate. Is like, even if it's got horns that it could burn me to death, I would probably still be okay with that.
Aliens are already here, though.
I know, but are you doing aliens?
Well, you ever heard of the RH bloodline, right? RH negative.
Yeah.
Well, they're saying that that bloodline is alien hybrids. They come from another far out galaxy, so that's pretty dope. I need to meet one.
There's a video. Okay, I'll give you an example here in a second. I got to pull it up. and find it. But before I get that too, like what we were talking about, one of the main stories we wanted to talk about today was the I don't even know how to phrase this. It's them wanting to transplant uteruses into trans women.
Oh my god!
Like this is legitimate, exclusive. Leading womb transplant expert says it's medically possible for transgender women to have natural pregnancies. Look at that word, natural pregnancies. Natural.
Yeah, and good point. So
Yeah,
how is it
natural.
natural if it's a transplant? That's not. It is
Good
not natural to
question.
begin with. It's
That
not.
is a good
natural to
question.
begin with.
Is it natural? Is it
It's
natural
not
if they
natural
have
to
to
begin with.
transplant it?
Yeah, it's not natural. It's
So
some.
uterus transplants could pave the way for women without wombs to give birth. Women without wombs.
It's not. That's an oxymoron right there.
Women without wombs.
That's an oxymoron, and
Yeah, I agree with you, Angela. God help us. God help us all.
it makes no sense. Like what? Oh my god! Like I want to see. You
Please,
know what? You know what?
please.
Let them do it. I want to see it. I want to see the first man.
The first man to get be a
get a
seahorse. Yeah.
uterus, and I want to see that person get pregnant, and I
You know
want to
what?
see that. I want to see that baby bust out of them like aliens.
Oh no, it has to be done via C-section, so it's sort of similar like that. It's just gonna be like, you know. But here's the thing: it's like I think this will happen for women who just don't want to have babies. They're gonna make their significant other have the baby. They're gonna do like seahorses. Like, okay, so when we get married, I'm not having them, but I'll transplant my uterus to you with the eggs, and then you do it. You do it. You can have fun with the last one, or she'll do the first two, and you have to do the last one. When she's like, I'm done having kids, and he's just gonna make you do it.
It's funny we talk about pregnancy because I was reading something on, and you could probably find it somewhere. Is that the male sperm count in 2045 is going to be down to 0?
Oh yeah, that's a crisis nobody's ever going to talk about. It's the fact that humans are on a decline as a whole.
Yep.
To begin with, but yeah, you're right. They'll never secrete the hormones needed to carry a baby in their body. Right. Absolutely, because we'll go over it in the article that they're talking about, like, so this is how it's going to work, right? The uterus is removed from a deceased or living donor. Have to put that out there. So die in a car wreck, you could have your uterus transplanted into some dude. Congratulations for your organ donors.
That's a man, baby.
It's a man.
That's a man.
All right, so they're going to remove it from the donor. Then it's going to be resupplied with blood. The organ is going to be transplanted into the recipient. Then the recipient starts a course of immunosuppressant medications.
Oh, yeah. It's natural.
Because for organ rejection, because it's already hard enough to keep organs that are transplanted when the body actually needs them to stay alive and not be rejected, let alone a uterus, an entire uterus with another person inside of it.
Go back to your original point, but it's natural.
Yeah, it's natural. This is all natural, by the way. This is all natural.
Yes, all natural.
Yeah, probably, Teresa. I don't disagree with that. They probably would die with that implant.
That's why, hey, if they want to go, I want to see it live. I want to see the whole thing live. Stupid hurts. Stupid has consequences.
Yeah, stupid does hurt. And then the fertilized egg is placed into the uterus via IVF.
Mm-hmm.
Then the patient undergoes C-section at 37 to 40 weeks of gestation. Then the patient then can go under one more pregnancy if she wishes to. I like how they had to put she.
Yeah, okay.
If he wishes to, because it's a seahorse. We're just going to say it's a seahorse method. If not, the uterus is surgically removed. So it's basically, I don't understand how this is any different than just basically putting a baby in a bag and saying, here, grow.
Yeah, like why not? Look, these dudes.
Oh yeah, it'll make them bank.
And they want to carry babies so bad. They want periods. You get a lot of these people that claim that they have periods and menstruation's just a freaking mindset. No, it's not. There are women out there that will give up a period in a heartbeat. And these weirdos want it. They wear those little cramp things on their stomachs so they have their little...
So they can figure out what it feels like to have a baby.
That's a mental disorder, man.
Yeah.
There is no normal man on the planet that will want to experience that stuff. This is why men and women are totally different. Their bodies are made to, to be able to handle stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's the other thing that people kind of miss about the story is that 100 uteruses have been transplanted so far in the world, and the process takes about 18 months. So there has only been one confirmed birth that has worked so far with a uterus transplant, and the kid be fine. But it was in a woman. It was in a woman that was meant to bear children to begin with.
Yeah. And what about the hips? What about all the things, the difference in a woman and a man's body? Like the women, their hips are a certain way just for childbearing. A man can't handle that stuff.
Yeah, so that was the woman that originally had a uterus transplanted. It worked, which is fine. I mean, for women that want to have children that can't have children, this is probably amazing technology for them to work. But then to just go experimenting on putting it in a man who claims they're a woman for rich people, I guess.
The body.
Yeah. That's what they've been doing with all of these surgeries and everything already to begin with. They're getting rich off of it.
And like we've said, the body's going to reject it. God created us a certain way, man. The body, he didn't create man to withstand that or have that body part in it. Because if he really wanted us to have a uterus, he would have made our bodies exactly the same on the inside. But we're not. We're different. No. The biggest difference between a man and a woman is the vagina, it's the genitals. So if God wanted a man to have a uterus, he would have put a uterus in us. You know what I mean? Yeah, and the body's gonna reject it. I don't even know why they're trying it. You got to have a death wish to try something like that.
Honestly, I have no idea what people are thinking. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should.
Yeah, that's weird,
right?
Because it's like going to Thailand, science and getting with a boy. Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Yes, and I've heard 1,000 stories of men who have gone unwittingly with a lady boy and reached down and touched some twig and berries and were very surprised and shocked, absolutely shocked by what they found.
I'd flip the hell out.
There's a lot of people that are in jail for flipping the hell out too.
Yeah, but what was you going to say before I threw that point in?
I don't remember. It's just funny because like this is one of those things. It's like just because now I remember what it was.
Yeah, that's what you guys.
Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do it. Right? Science is amazing that we can develop technologies. Just because a scientist comes up with a method to do it doesn't mean you should listen to that said scientist. Right?
That's right.
So one of the things that people don't remember is the fact that the Japanese during World War II did human experimentation on frostbite, right? So they took prisoners of war and stuck their hands out of cold windows and waited until they froze, and that's how we got the majority of our information on how frostbite works, was because of the doctors in Japan performing experiments on people, live people.
That's crazy.
Right? Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something. Right? And just be, and they pardon them, by the way.
What you said about that, you remember Snowpiercer? Remember that movie?
Yeah.
You remember how they punished people? They stuck their hand outside the train and they would drive until the hand fell off.
Exactly. It's exactly like that. That's how they did it.
Crazy.
That's exactly what the Japanese did. They would stick their hand out the window, the prisoner's hand out the window, and they would just see how long it takes for various degrees of frostbite. And then they study it, write down all the information, and that's how we came to know about what frostbite does and how to treat it.
I've had cold weather injuries before in Germany. Yeah. I had chilblains, and that's no joke, man. That's some painful stuff. And the difference between chilblains is like the next step before frostbite, or the step below. And the worst part about chilblains is that when your nerve endings start growing back. That's some pain. Yeah. And it was in my feet, both my feet. And I was probably like 26 years old. I was walking around in pain, man. So I can imagine.
I can imagine too, man.
Oh my God, that's torture.
It's just absolutely insane. The like I said, it's like science is great, but like doing certain things that is going to harm others probably shouldn't be doing.
Oh yeah.
Like this entirely is something that's going to harm people.
Oh yeah.
More often than not. And they're going to continue on with it.
Most things in the medical field, or the majority, are just a practice. You know what I mean? When I got my procedure done, cutting off that supplies, it's a practice. So,
Yeah.
if they mess up, all they got to say, well, it's a practice. Like when I got eye surgery, that was a practice. So this same thing with this Dr. freaking Frankenstein thing they want to do to themselves, they have to understand that this is
Yeah.
just a practice. It's not real science.
I mean, what do they plan on doing after this point is my question. Like why do you want to do it in the first place? I mean, I get it. It's like you're continuing this whole idea of affirmation surgery. But like, do we really need to go to that length? Like,
Yeah.
honestly, like, do we really need to go to that length?
I mean, the next step would be like they'll figure out a way to change out the DNA, totally change the DNA.
Well, with CRISPR technology,
Yeah,
they
they can
can.
totally. If a dude says he's a woman, they can go in there and figure out how to, change up your DNA, doing their little evil scientist stuff.
Mhm.
And now your DNA, when you die, because people are like, well, when I die and they dig my bones up, still going to say I'm a man, but I really want them to say I'm a woman. They're like, oh, we know how to change out your DNA, so your DNA will say you're a woman.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And it's going to get crazier and crazier. And I just want the big one to hit. Just the asteroid.
Here comes the asteroid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just fire. Just hey, let's end it. I'm ready.
Okay. So I finally I couldn't find just the clip of itself, so I had to get somebody else's clip of this because I wanted to show it to you. It's hilarious. By the way, getting off this topic and on to the next thing. I'm gonna go back to what I was talking about. Marines would do absolutely anything.
Oh no.
Mostly. The new Baldur's Gate 3 game is amazing, by the way. I finished it this week and absolutely love it. It's you make it what you will. The game is whatever you want to do, you can do basically. Like you want to chunk a cat through a window just to distract somebody on the other side, you can do that,
That's
right?
horrible.
You want to pick up a gnome and throw it at somebody else as an improvised weapon. You can do that. In a fight,
Well,
like I could just pick up a little person and then throw them at another person and kill them with it.
throw the little person, not the cat, though.
Yeah, you could. I'm just saying you can
No,
do
I
all
know.
the things, and it's amazing. I love this game. And there's one because people are thirsty, and like I said, Marines would do absolutely anything. This video proves that people are gross.
Oh man.
What's this?
I'm sorry. I shouldn't tease you or myself. I'd give anything to touch you, but I can't. Not until I can be sure I won't burn you. Gods, I want to ride you till you see stars.
Oh god. Okay.
Oh, that's
Elixir
hilarious.
of fire resist. Yeah, like that's some nerd shit right there. It's like,
That's
okay,
hilarious.
so the point behind that is she was like dragged to the hells and was basically what we're talking about, science and stuff like that. But she was like, they performed a thing where it turned her into like an infernal engine, so she burns like super hot, so you can't touch her because she's on fire basically. And so you're like trying to figure out a way to make her cool down so you can touch her.
It's kind of getting turned on a little bit by the game. I was kind of like, ooh, yeah, you talk dirty to me, you naughty little AI. You.
Oh man, this shit's funny though. It just goes to show you that people are nasty creatures and they will
Oh
do
yeah.
things.
I mean, you have the Oculus. You remember that time the Oculus was having those sex rooms, and you could put your Oculus on and walk in these orgy rooms. and
Those are
stuff?
still around.
Yeah,
Those are
walk in
still
an
around,
orgy. You
man.
can have a full blown orgy with strangers in the virtual world.
I mean, is
Yeah.
that any different than freaking furries and their yiffing parties?
Oh yeah, maybe.
Because it's not really, because you put on a freaking animal costume and go like rub yourself on each other. It's
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah, it is. And they hop around like bunnies and horses and stuff. I'm just like, this is, and they wear hooves, and they're just like, what the
God,
hell
the world
is wrong with you
sucks.
people? What is wrong with you people?
What is wrong with everybody?
We should just give them all an island and let them be as crazy as they want to be. You can just do what you
Yeah.
want out here. You know?
Yeah. Just like Joe Biden, we should put him on an island somewhere and let him do whatever he wants, right?
Yeah. Oh my God.
So, in the more serious news, you got the Marine Corps Times reporting this is Biden brokers new defense commitments between Japan and South Korea. Not only that, in this week, they've also said they're going to give F-16s to Ukraine
Of course.
and part of this deal.
Of course.
So he brokered a series of trilateral defense initiatives with Japanese Prime Minister Fukuyama Kushida and South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol at Camp David. On Friday, and the two U.S. allies moved past decades of strained relations. No, I don't think South Korea and Japan have strained relations.
No, they don't. No.
Why would they? Why would they have strained relations?
No. I couldn't tell them apart up there.
That's racist. Jesus, Michael.
No, I'm kidding.
That's racist. Anyway, so the agreement between the three countries include annual trilateral military exercises, ballistic missile defense cooperation, and shoring up the security of defense supply chains. So basically keeping China in check in the South China Sea.
Of course.
Is what this is really what is coming down to. The U.S. has worked to reconcile Japan and South Korea for well over a decade and seeks to bolster its alliance in Asia and counter China. It contained North Korea's nuclear and ballistic missile programs. Japan, up until recently, has been very anti-military, but they are starting to put more into their defense spending. Like a lot more. And I mean a lot. They are worried about China right now. And that's the big issue. We are elevating our trilateral defense collaboration to deliver in the Indo-Pacific region, said Biden. This is not about a day, a month, or a week or a month. This is about decades and decades of relationships that we're building. So look, he's being presidential, I think. Just getting us into more wars. One of the things they had to promise in this meeting was that they were going to work with their Ukraine stuff.
Oh, of course. Of course they had to throw Ukraine in the mix.
See, here's the one I wanted to point out here. The three countries will also collaborate more closely on supply chain security, which includes several vulnerability areas as defense industrial base that are often contingent on Chinese-dominated markets, which include critical minerals, batteries, semiconductors, artificial intelligence, and quantum computing. All the things we're worried about China doing.
Yeah. We're doing the same, and we've discussed this many times before. It's like America, they're always talking about what China does, but we're doing the same exact stuff.
Absolutely. And one of the other things is that the U.S. has also sought to onshore semiconductor production, fearful that the possible Chinese attack on Taiwan could upend global shortage. As most microelectronics are produced in Asia, it's even worse than that. The only place that they're produced is in Taiwan, the only place in the world. So if you want to cripple the entire world of electronics, you take out Taiwan.
Let's do it.
That's what you would have to do.
We need a reset.
And so here the three leaders also reaffirm their support for aiding Ukraine against. Oh, here remember the word Marlon told us to look out for. Against Russia's unprovoked and brutal war of aggression.
Mm-hmm.
That fun little word right here, unprovoked.
Is there a war still going on there? Because, for it to be such a dangerous conflict, we haven't heard nothing from it.
Yeah. So it's an unprovoked.
Yeah,
attack.
Unprovoked. They've been provoking Russia for years, man.
Oh, yeah. No.
And, they're always going to make them a bad guy. Ukraine knows that Russia would destroy them if they actually were doing something, but it's all smoke and mirrors, man. It's all bull.
Ukraine would not be standing without U.S. aid. That's just a period fact. And there is no logical rationale most people could see why we would be.
Yeah.
In any other case.
Like,
honestly.
I'm an isolationist myself, so.
No, I get it. We're all in
man.
the same boat there.
Yeah.
Most people see it that way.
And leave them alone. Let's focus on the inside and protect it. Look at this weirdo. Look at that mask he has on.
I know, right? So this is something he also said while at that summit.
Is America First policy walking away from the rest of the world has made us weaker, not stronger? Is America First policy walking away from the rest of the world has made us weaker, not stronger?
Made us weaker, not stronger.
Well, a lot of Americans want to walk away from the rest of the world's problems.
Yeah, absolutely. So they think that this globalist nature is what is saving America. I don't know about you, but there seems to be a lot of ever since we have opened up trade to all these different places, has not done anything for America.
No,
Like, honestly, how's it made us stronger?
it hasn't.
Like, if anything, we've lost manufacturing. We've lost everything that has made us what we are today. Or what we used to be. I would say we've lost all of what we used to be now.
We took all our manufacturing jobs, moved them overseas. Everything that we're doing in these other countries, we can do here. But the thing that, it's all about money, man. If we could send it over to China, they're going to work for pennies on a dollar. We bring it here. These Americans, these greedy Americans are going to want minimum wage to do the same exact work. So let's just send it over there. It's going to cost $10 to make a product. But when it gets back here, we're going to charge them $600 for the same product.
Yeah, exactly. Everything that they've done has not helped the American people once. It has destroyed blue-collar jobs to the point that it is impossible to find any... Like, back in the day, you could work a manufacturing job, you could get a pension, you could buy a house and a car and afford your kids. You can't do any of that today.
Nope.
Like, not without struggling. You can do it, but it's hard. It's not like our parents and the boomers who had it easy.
Yeah, we're
You could
struggling.
just walk into a bank and just get a loan.
We're struggling for a lot of reasons. The main reason is taxation. That's one of the biggest things why a lot of Americans are struggling. If Americans didn't have to pay, if us as Americans didn't have to pay sales tax, property tax, federal tax, school tax, this tax, that tax, and all these different taxes, you would see a lot of more Americans prosper. It's a lot of times it's not the actual job. Some people are actually making decent money. It's the amount of taxes that they're taking from that money. So this is why I don't believe in taxes. I don't believe in paying taxes. I don't care if they're for roads, railroads, trains, Social Security. I don't care. Let Americans decide what they want to do with their money. Me as an American, if I want to give into Social Security, that should be my option because they call it a retirement fund, right? It's almost like a 401k.
Retirement fund.
That's what they call it. It's a retirement fund, but you can't touch it till you're 65, whatever.
Absolutely. Taxation is that.
I should have the option to give into it, but you don't have that option. They take all your money, FIFA, and Social Security and federal tax and state tax, and they take all that out your check, out your money.
Take all that money
before you even see it. That's the problem we have. So if the government, if people would just say, screw it, if every American went to their job and just exempt themselves from paying taxes, every single one of us, I'm not paying for tax, you would see the government start changing the way they operate because all they do is print money, but charge us to print money. Makes no sense.
Well, you understand that that's what taxes are really meant for, right? Is
pay
to
back debt.
Pay back debt, but it's also to rake in all the money they printed.
Yeah.
Right. How are they supposed to get the money back? Through taxes. That's what
but the money's not worth anything. You can wipe
but the money isn't worth anything.
Yeah,
right. So like
anything.
there are charts showing the productivity and wages have been like productivity is high and wages are stagnant. People are working harder now than they were back in the day. They're more productive now than they were back in the day, but they are making less today versus how much they're being productive.
That's right.
And that's the problem with that. A lot of that is the problem.
September 1st. Full boycott. Don't go to work. Don't pay nothing. Don't buy nothing. Don't do nothing. Give them one day of hell.
I wish we can do that. So for the last topic of the day, we got to talk about the 14th Amendment being trending on X today, which was fun.
Who are they adding to it?
They are claiming, the left is claiming that Donald Trump is not qualified for office because of the 14th Amendment and because of what happened on January 6th. The unprovoked attack on the Capitol.
Oh, that's what it said again?
Yeah, that's what we should call it. It was an unprovoked attack on the Capitol. Because you know that word, what that word really means.
Yeah. It was.
And so I think this is one video that explains sort of what it's going on.
The Capitol attack on January 6, 2021. Donald Trump.
The unprovoked attack on January 6th.
That was
the Capitol attack.
That was not an insurrection. For the first time in American history, the peaceful transfer of presidential power was disrupted.
My name is Daniel Patrick Hodges. I am a police officer with the Metropolitan Police Department of Washington, D.C. I was posted in front of the IRS building, seeing all the people in their Trump regalia and their flags and all that, but also the people in the tactical gear, the helmets, the load-bearing vests, backpacks, masks, just all this equipment that you really don't need to listen to a politician speak in a park. These people, they were equipped for battle.
Hundreds of people have been charged with crimes related to January 6th, but Donald Trump, who's the reason there was an insurrection in the first place, has yet to face accountability. And now he wants to be president again. That's where Section 3 of the 14th Amendment comes in. After the Civil War, our country was reckoning with what to do about government leaders who had staged a rebellion against our nation. Our leaders then could never have predicted January 6th specifically, but they were worried about future insurrections. And they ratified a protective measure for our Constitution that's just as relevant now as it was then.
They were there for Donald Trump. They were not shy about it. They wore his name on their clothes. They carried his flag. They told us they were fighting for Trump.
Donald Trump swore an oath to the Constitution. And when he incited the insurrection on January 6th, he disqualified himself from ever serving in public office again. Section 3 is just like any other qualification to serve as president. You must be at least 35 years old. You must be a natural-born citizen who has resided in the United States for at least 14 years. You cannot have served 2 previous terms as president. And you can't have incited an insurrection after taking an oath to the U.S. Constitution. At Crew, we're ready to act to enforce Trump's disqualification as soon as possible.
They're going to cause another insurrection if they do that. But the thing is, they're full of crap, man. Trump said, go peacefully.
Yep.
Do not do anything. He said that. It hit the words out of his mouth. So that fake insurrection, that was all planned, man. And if people got to stop believing that crap that these people were Trump supporters that went inside that Capitol, because they weren't. We know that. Everybody knows that.
We have no idea how many feds were actually involved in January 6th.
They won't say.
They won't even say. We're talking about hundreds. We already know through court documents there were hundreds of feds in the crowd, right?
Yep.
And the one person who was actually inciting violence in the Capitol has yet to be arrested.
That's right.
Mr. Epps.
Yep.
The only person who is on camera legitimately calling for people to go into the Capitol, not once, not twice, but at least 3 times on video, telling people to go in the Capitol. So, to me, as we said before, to me, this seems like they are just absolutely deathly afraid of Donald Trump and what he will do once he gets into office. And so why are they trying to take it? They're trying to take him off the ballots. They're trying to keep him barred from office. They are doing everything in their power to keep this man from holding office. And I like how they never mentioned the people that incited insurrection by using a fake dossier in order to have an overturning of what they saw as an illegitimate election in 2016.
That's right.
Nobody wants to talk about those people involved and where they went against the actual sitting president of the United States, Hillary Clinton's campaign, and the other deep statists that were involved in that coup.
Yep,
but they don't want to talk about that.
You know, and they're not, because it's always rules for thee, not for me. You know, they can do the same exact thing, you know, and what Donald Trump did, questioning the integrity of the election, he had the right to do that.
Yeah, he did.
You know, and these other people, Hillary, did the same exact thing, exactly what Donald Trump did, but yet they talked about the Russia collusion and all the Steele dossier and all that other crap, those lies that have been proven to be a lie.
Yeah.
The bleach bit of our hard drives. Oh yeah, let's just forget about that. You know, we're not going to talk about that.
Nope. So one of the legitimacies that they're using right now is they're propping up a rhino judge in order to push the propaganda. So former conservative judge Michael Luttig, yeah, it says Donald Trump should be barred from the presidency under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. People who wrote the 14th Amendment were not fools. They realized that if those people who tried to overturn the country, who tried to get rid of our peaceful transition of power, are again put in power, that they would be the end of the nation and the end of democracy.
Yeah, he's another idiot. You know, look at all the buzzwords they always use. The peaceful transition of power.
Peaceful transition of power. Kind of like 2016, right? Where they were saying that he was illegitimate.
Exactly. It wasn't a peaceful transfer of power in 2016. Because for 3 years of his presidency, what did they kept saying? They kept pushing that crap. Russia collusion, Russia. Brainwashing American people to think Russia was real. Now that they come out and say Russia never happened, these smooth brain leftists still believe that there was Russian collusion. This is how dumb they are, man. I know we got a lot of stupid people in the country, but the left takes the cake on.
They absolutely take the cake. So here's another fun meme from the left. No one should get a second chance to undermine the Constitution. Really? Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people that are still in power that undermine the Constitution constantly. How about Adam Schiff, who lied to the American people about having concrete evidence that Donald Trump was colluding with Russians that he was a Soviet spy?
Oh, yeah. But, you know, look at that American democracy. First off, we're not a democracy. We're a smart guy. We're a republic.
Yeah. So any state or local official that can reject Trump as constitutionally disqualified of office under the 14th Amendment, Section 3, does not require Congress. It does not require a lawsuit. Trump has already been disqualified automatically.
Yeah, okay. That ain't going to happen.
And it goes on and on and on and on. It's like this is the propaganda machine working its best of saying that he's disqualified. So if they can't win legally or righteously, they will do it any means necessary by either changing the rules or cheating outright. And they're doing it in front of your face.
And there's a reason why they did that. Remember Obama passed that bill about propaganda is allowed to be used?
Yep. Propaganda in the United States used to be illegal. Now it was legal after Obama signed it into law.
I pray that Trump gets in office and every single communist, every single traitor, they get hung in D.C.
Basically saying Donald Trump is raping America. Look at this one. Anyone who really is surprised that Donald Trump is trying to force himself on America after she said no?
Hey.
The freest and fair election in the history of mankind happened, and you should not question the election ever.
No, you should never question it.
You have no right to question the election.
They are scared, like you said earlier. There's something that they're worried about, man. They're terrified right now, and there's a reason why they're scared. I mean, if they didn't care about them, if they weren't worried about them, why, like you said, why are they pushing so hard to keep them from running? And they're using every avenue they can. Once he gets through something else comes up. Once he does, something else comes up. So there's a reason why they're terrified, and they know that something big is coming if he gets in office. He's going to release a lot of stuff.
It's so ridiculous any normal thinker would see it. Yep, that's right, Crazy Days. It is right. So, like, here's the other thing is, like, innocent until proven guilty. Have they found Donald Trump guilty of insurrection?
No.
Other than public opinion. Right? Like, legally speaking, is he guilty of insurrection? Well, you have to convince the jury of that. They still have to convince the jury that that he tried to do that in Georgia, right? That's what the whole case is about, is they're trying to find him guilty of fraud against the United States government. They're not saying he was an insurrectionist because they can't charge him with that. They would try, but they would lose. And they know they would lose because once they legitimately have to bring charges to Donald Trump on the case of insurrection, that means they have to open up all of their books from the DOJ, the FBI, and anybody else, the Department of Homeland Security, the Capitol Police, to discovery for his defense, because he has to be able to have the same information they have, and legally speaking, they have to give him that information. So if he goes in there and then his lawyers start digging and they find that there was a lot more feds than they said there was at January 6th, and he can prove that the people inciting this rebellion were feds, what then? What happens then?
They would shut down a country, man. I'm telling you, this is how desperate these people are.
Yeah.
If he goes to trial and there's a discovery and it comes, that comes out that the feds were involved, Pelosi was involved, all these people were involved. These crazy people, these crazy elitists, these evil, these demons, these lizard people, whatever you want to call them.
The lizards.
They would try to shut down the whole country. These are all actors. They're paid actors, man. They're not who they say they are.
Now, coming from our state propaganda, the Communist News Network, We have the legal experts.
Yeah,
legal
they're experts. Remember, experts. We talked about that.
What decide is what this language means. It's pretty obvious what it says. In fact, when it was written, Abraham Lincoln was no longer president. We had a president who didn't believe in the 14th Amendment, Andrew Jackson. They weren't going to rely on him and his Justice Department to decide who should be convicted of insurrection. That's beside the point. So it's important to see what happens in all of these 91 pending charges of crime against the former president. But whatever happens in those cases, this disqualification, like the disqualification of someone who was not a natural born citizen, or the disqualification of someone who doesn't meet the age limits, has got to be enforced according to its terms. For a very long time, Americans didn't take this seriously. But now that scholars have begun to look at it, and as the judge says, I've looked at it for a long time, it's impossible to disregard. We have a former president who has proudly said that he would terminate the Constitution. That was his language. He would terminate it if necessary to hold on to power. How can he say that and take the oath to uphold the Constitution? This is going to end up in the Supreme Court. It's a monumental issue, the most important constitutional issue of our day. And people have got to get used to the fact that whatever happens in these very important trials of the president, under the Constitution's own language, he's simply not eligible to be president again. Now, of course, when you asked, is he going to say, you got me? The answer is no, he never says you got me. He won't say that even if he's convicted of all the crimes available. But it's not up to him. Wake up, Mr. Trump. It's not up to you. It is up to the Supreme Court of the United States reviewing what the secretaries of state
and the Supreme Court is going to be against you.
Yeah.
Freaking nerd.
It's gonna be funny. It's gonna be funny.
Yeah, it'll go to the Supreme Court, but Trump is a genius. It'll go to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court is going to be like, no, he was never charged with insurrection. Where are you guys getting he was an insurrectionist?
It's your opinion. It's an opinion statement. Is it proven legally and factual that he was an insurrectionist?
It's not proven.
Have you proven it in a court of law? Have you proven it to a jury of his peers? Have you proven it legally that he's an insurrectionist? Because you heard what he said, right? Mm-hmm. When they were charged and found guilty of insurrection, he hasn't been charged and found guilty of insurrection. None of the charges that they have laid out specifically say insurrection. They have not labeled him as an insurrectionist, nor have they charged him as one.
That's right.
It is a big stretch and a hopeful wish and a prayer from leftists that Donald Trump is going to get charged as an insurrectionist. And know it's not true.
That's
absolutely know it's not true.
Leftists aren't smart people. They rely on these experts like you just saw. They rely on these people to feed them information instead of using their critical thinking skills, which they have none, and saying, wait a minute, was he ever charged? So how can they hold that against him if he was never charged? He never went to trial.
Yeah.
It's not going to stick, dummies.
Just like as much as I wish Joe Biden would go to jail for all of his shady corruption, he hasn't been charged, nor has he found guilty of it. And he's innocent until proven guilty. But of course, I will never see him in a court office other than his son for the things that he's done.
Yeah.
Same thing with Obama and his extrajudicial assassinations of American citizens.
That's right.
Because he did that. And that's not constitutionally allowed either, to just murder U.S. citizens just because you can overseas. But you'll never see him in court. You will never see George Bush in court for the murder of thousands in Iraq and Afghanistan because of a lie to force us into war, or the thousands of people that are dead now on our side because you sent us in a war for no reason. Right? So
all a lie.
Where's our justice? But you're worried about it. Yeah. And you're worried about Donald Trump. Okay, I'm more worried about the deep state or the administrative state that killed a sitting president and still gets away with it till this day.
That's right.
So, excuse me if I see your words as being hollow.
They are hollow.
Absolutely.
That's why we need to go to war. That's what we need.
It's just so weird that this timeline sucks. The 20s suck. And we're just living on it with a prayer and just trying to keep you entertained while we do it.
Defiance.
We are the violinists as the Titanic's going down. So you're welcome.
Defiance is the key. Americans they have to stop complying. Like literally, you have to stop complying. Defiance is the only way to do it. If every single American stood up and say, "Hey, we're not," like I said the other day on the last episode, we're not following your rules anymore, man. We're not going to do it. We're not going to do this. We're not going to do that. If it's not constitutional, we're not going to listen to it. We're not going to comply with lockdowns because that's unconstitutional. I don't care what they say. I'm not going to wear your stupid mask. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. What are you going to do about it? I'm not going to pay your fines. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
But
all we do is do something. They'll do something to you. We'll see.
We just comply. We listen. Oh man, the government, they're put there for a reason. Screw them.
And you're right. Like they think that Memorial Day is going to make up for all that for Iraq and Afghanistan. It won't. Right. I can't bring people back that died for no reason, which sucks. I wish.
And then he joked about when asked about the weapons of mass destruction. Remember, he kind of joked it off.
Yeah.
Like, well, I guess they weren't there.
Well, I guess there wasn't any weapons of mass destruction there.
All the people that died based off that lie, and this is what you say, and people just laughed it off. Republicans, that old Bush right there is
I'm glad Bush is a painter. I'm just glad. I don't know, man. I can't stand these liars and these people that are telling us to eat shit sandwiches and expect us to just appreciate it.
Yeah, most Americans will do it though.
Your overlord said so you must.
Your overlords, the masters have spoken.
They have spoken so. Anyway, that'll be it for this week, guys. We will be back tomorrow night on the Savage Patriots at 6:30 Eastern time, I believe. That's right.
Yeah, 6:30 Eastern.
I always get the Eastern and
6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central.
Yeah. And there's a bunch of people that have missed us. You're not getting the notifications. I'm sorry. Especially like Daisy mentioned it earlier. And I guess the Serial just popped in. She said hi.
Yeah. Hey, September 1st. Missing this. September 1st is a mass non-compliance day. Yeah. If you can't do it, you can't do it. We get it. But Canada's on the 31st. America, I think it's going to be September 1st. So, I mean, you don't show up to work. You don't send your kids to school. You don't buy nothing on Amazon. You don't stream nothing. You don't do anything.
Just take a Sabbath, man.
Yeah.
Take a
Sabbath. You just sit there and enjoy your family for one day. We're going to see if this will wake them up.
I wish. If we can organize like a boycott like that, that'd be great. But
it is organized. It's just, a lot of people don't know about it.
How many people actually do it? We'll see.
Yeah. A lot of people ain't going to do it.
Well, anyway, I appreciate you guys. Like I said, Savage Patriots tomorrow night. We'll be back here next Sunday at 6. We love you, America. And we are out.
War.